Am I the bad guy for not wanting anything to do with my son? Throw away because of personal information on my main account. I don't know how to start this. Our son 27M just cut us off out of nowhere. Before I start, let me say we didn't spoil our son and never abused or neglected him in any way. Me and my wife have been to every single game, competition, and event. Whatever our son was doing, we supported him to the fullest of our ability. We gave him the lesson of work and money from a young age. We talked, had fun together, played together, fishing trips, hunting, boating. We learned about his interests as he got older so we could participate. We were always there, but also made sure not to hover over him, but always available when he needed advice or assistance. We gave him the freedom to make his choices and discussed why a certain choice wasn't a good one, not just telling him he was wrong. This is not to boast about our partnering, but I do believe we did a great job with him and never heard him saying anything to the contrary. Our house was the hangout place for his friends, and on more than one occasion heard his friends saying they wished he had us as parents. Even when he went to college, normally you would expect a decline in contact, but we didn't have that. We covered his college expenses, but he had to get a job to pay for his food, gas, and half of the rent. We covered the rest. All vacations were on his dime. Everything changed when he met his girlfriend, now wife, 7 years ago in college. The contact and visits became less and less. We understood and didn't push for him to come and visit, only pushed when it was an important event, birthdays, weddings. After they got married 5 years ago, everything came to a standstill. No contact was received from him. We went weeks not hearing from him until we called him or texted him first. Any visit had to be initiated by us. He got in a car accident, multiple injuries, and only found out 3 weeks after the accident when my wife sent him a message asking if he and his family would visit for Thanksgiving. We found out his wife was pregnant on an FB post with her gender reveal party and didn't get an invite. We talked to him a week before that. We asked him multiple times if we did anything wrong and why he was icing us out of his life, but his response, everything was sorry, I just forgot. I have asked him if we did anything wrong and the answer was always, no. After the birth of our grandchild, we had to ask to go and visit to be able to see our granddaughter. We did not even know his wife gave birth and found out on FB again. I again told him, I know he is growing, but icing us out like this is hurting us and we don't expect to have him on the phone 24/7, but we would just like to be informed that is it, and a call now and then from him would be nice. He again apologized and promised to keep in contact more. After that, I had to sit down with my wife and asked her to stand with me and not contact our son for any reason. I wanted to see what happened and if he would keep his promises. It was hard not just for me, but for my wife as well as the months went on. I nearly cracked myself. 6 months went by without a word from our son. This started to cause problems in our marriage and we found ourselves in marriage counseling. Luckily, we came through it and are still married to this day. The first year was the hardest and I can't count the number of times me and my wife sat down and talked for hours as to what could be the reason for our son's behavior, where we fell short, and what went wrong. According to our son, we did nothing wrong. We had to see the birthday parties and life events through FB. All the people invited to them, having fun. Happy birthdays to other people. I'm not going to describe everything we went through, but for 3 years we didn't receive a phone call, message for birthdays, Christmas, anniversaries, invites for our grandchild, nothing. For 3 years, we didn't get a single text. 2 weeks ago, I and my wife were sitting on the couch and I received a call from our son. I was shocked and so was my wife. Because of everything we went through, we didn't cut our son off, but decided to act for our mental health so that we were childless in a sense. I answered the call and put it on speaker so my wife could hear as well. The first thing out of our son's mouth, did you guys forget I existed? Not a hello, how are you? How have you been? Just have you forgotten I existed? He didn't scream, but it was clear in his voice, it wasn't said in a joking manner. I asked what he meant and he said, well, I haven't heard from you in a while. I just said back, you have a phone and you have our numbers, why didn't you call? It was silent from the other end for a couple of seconds and he just said, why didn't you call me? I unloaded everything I said above on him over the phone call, but in more detail about how our marriage almost ended. Having to see his life play out on FB. No text, calls, birthday wishes, nothing. The call lasted for about 15 minutes, and most of that time was me just unloading everything on him. Around the 10-minute mark, I could hear him crying over the phone. At the end of the call, I asked him, what did we do to deserve the treatment he gave us? If we deserved it, I would understand, but we couldn't come up with any reason. As for his behavior toward us, again, he said, I'm sorry. I shouted over the phone, sorry isn't good enough. 3 years of not a word, and all he had to say was sorry. I wanted a reason. He said, I don't have one, you did nothing wrong. My wife took the phone from me and cut the call, telling me it was enough. I was getting too worked up. Since then, our son has been texting us to stop, wanting us to come and visit him, and him not even coming to us. But after everything, wanting us to go to him. I haven't answered yet, nor has my wife. He is begging for a chance to fix everything but can't give us any reason as to why. At this point, the reason doesn't matter anymore. Some of our family members have contacted us telling us we are jerks because our son is trying, and we are finally getting what we want, but now we don't want to talk to him. The pain we went through, almost to the point of divorce for no other reason, isn't something we can get over that quickly, and we are still working on that, but everyone is refusing to understand. My wife agrees with me. What if it happens again? She is at a point where she accepts everything and doesn't even want to entertain the idea of that happening again. She doesn't want to get hurt like that again, neither do I. So am I the bad guy? Edit to add. The reason we stood at the divorce door wasn't because we blamed each other. It was due to the pain we felt and couldn't work through it. We became housemates, never talked, and bottled everything up. Got mad at each other for nothing. In all his texts, he just said he would fix it and wanted us to visit him and not the other way around. We have seen our grandchildren only once, but regularly see them with other people on vacations, at parties at houses. He and his family were at a New Year's Eve party 20 minutes away from our home and nothing.